Dangote Cement has released their first quarter 2020 unaudited financial results, showing a 3.8% increase in top-line revenue, along with single-digit increases in gross profits, profit before tax, and profit after tax. The company also recorded a foreign exchange gain during the three-month period. Arise business analyst Chika Mbonu is in the studio with me to make sense of these numbers. Chika, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us to talk about
Dangote.
Just a few days ago, we were looking at another cement player. So here we are. So please, what's your take on
Dangote, Nigeria's largest capitalized company.
Yes.
And of course, after them is in capitalization is MTN and Nestle and Guarantee Trust Bank.
Yes, indeed.
Also, Africa's largest cement plant, cement company.
Yes.
You know, with operations with an installed capacity of more than 46 million tons a year. Operations principally in Nigeria, where they have capacity of almost about 30 million tons. You know, cement plant in the major cement plant is in Bajana, more than 30 million tons of cement every year. They have plant in Ibese in Ogun State, and of course they have in Boko. And then they have operations in 9 African countries.
So Pan-African.
Pan-African. They have a Pan-African operation. And with successive investments by Dangote, Nigeria has become self-sufficient in cement. And indeed, is exporting cement to several African countries now because of the investments they've made. So this is an African giant,
yes.
You know, a very good ambassador for Nigeria. And it's a company that we should actually celebrate for the good things they've done for our country, the good things they've done in our country. Let's look at the Q1 results, which you have up there. Just like I said before, you know, results of companies always reflect the macroeconomic environment that they play in, yes. And then, of course, the competitive environment exists in that company. And, of course, specific issues that the company has implemented during the year. You will see there that group revenue grew by 4%, 3.8% actually. Okay. And then what the other thing is interesting figure here is that the group volume of cement sold, yes. Grew by 0.6%. Okay. So sales grew by, Naira sales, yes. Grew by 4%, but volume of sales, tons sold, grew by 0.6%. That tells you, therefore, that the growth is not driven by, you know, quantum of cement sold. It's actually driven by price increase. So not surprising that between this time last year, yes. They increased their prices by 5%. So that is actually the principal driver for their sales growth. Okay. Now, if you look at the sales growth a little more, making it a little more analytical, 72% of it came from Nigeria. Okay. Of the sales revenue. Okay. And the balance of 28 came from Pan-African countries. Okay. And then certainly Nigerian sales grew by 5.6%, where Nigerian volumes grew by 0.7%. Again, that tells you it is price. And price driven. Okay. Well, there's some interesting things that I found out here. One of them is that if I applied the quantum of cement sold in Nigeria, yes. The revenue from sales in Nigeria divided by the quantum of cement sold in Nigeria, do the same thing for Pan-Africa. You'll find that in Nigeria, almost about 45,000, 1 ton costs about 45,000 naira. Okay. Whereas in Pan-Africa, it costs about 30,000 naira. So its price margins are high. Again, that's corroborated by the fact that the EBITDA margin in Nigeria is about 60%. 56% actually, yes. And where that outside Nigeria is about 28%. Wow, so you find that difference. Nigeria is their home, the cash cow, their home base. Again, still looking at revenue, the Pan-African revenue, especially principally South Africa, was impacted by the lockdown in South Africa in March. Okay. That impacted the revenue. Coronavirus matters. Let's look at the cost of sales. Okay. And very important thing. It talked about the core cost of the company, how much they spend to make each 100 naira of revenue. Okay. Which translates again to the gross margin. Yes. The company has done very well because between the two periods of 2019 and 2020, they actually had their gross margin at about 58%, which is substantial. When we look at a little comparison with another player, Lafarge, in a minute's time, you will find that this is major for them. 58% margin is, and they've held it constant, despite the inflation environment and the challenges we have in the country.
Okay.
The other thing that you're going to look at here is sales and admin expenses again. They've held it constant.
Yes.
You know, for every 100 naira of sales they make, they spend about 22 naira in the previous year to make it.
That's not bad.
This year they spend about the same amount of money.
Well.
So that is that's why they've done very well in that. Can I have the next slide, please? Next slide, please. Okay. Next slide.
Are we still looking at revenues? Or
yeah, the revenue, same revenue.
Okay, so same revenue.
Revenue,
okay.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you look at net finance costs, it's a very interesting figure because Dangote has been working assiduously to reduce their finance costs, replace using the low interest environment we have now to reduce their high cost funds with low cost funds. And indeed, they had a 300 million naira bond program that they pushed out.
Yes.
And the first issue was about 100 billion. The first series one was $100 billion. Yes. Out of the $100 billion that went out, it was oversubscribed. I think 12.75. That tells you how even this, it was in April, and that tells you that despite the challenges of the environment,
lots of appetite.
Yeah, there's lots of appetite for the there. So you can see their cost of funds came down by 23%. Okay. Not surprising, therefore, that you saw the growth of 12% in the PBT. Yeah. Okay. So very good quarter for them. As we said, for most companies, the Q2 is going to be a very soft quarter for most companies. Yes. Because out of the 9 countries they're operating, 10 including Nigeria, about 4 of them had complete shutdown for in the past months, especially April, May, we're in now, and we're entering June. Yes. So the results are going to suffer, but we'll see what will happen subsequently.
We'll have you here to analyze it for us.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's look at one interesting thing. Remember that last we talked when we talked about Lafarge. Yes. We said that this is an oligopolistic market. Yes. With a dominant player. Yes. Dominant player, Dangote. Dangote had about 6% of the market here. Lafarge, I think, is about 25%, and then Boa has about 16-17% of the market. Yes. Now you can see look at I just put the figures there so you can see the difference. The difference is clear. Look at the revenue. Yes, indeed. The revenue about Dangote made about for this quarter almost 4 times revenue for Lafarge. I mean, you can tell you massive how big, this is really the giant, the giant of Africa, the biggest player in this sector. But, the other issue I put out there is the other thing I put out there, the cost of sale and gross profit. See, the gross profit look at cost of sale. The cost of sale of Dangote is 42%. Where that of Lafarge is 72%. 72%. No, it says this, that for every 100 naira of sales that Dangote makes, it spends only 42 naira. Right. Whereas Lafarge spends 72 naira. That's huge. So you can see if you're running Lafarge, you know where to work on. Not surprisingly, remember when we talked about Lafarge, we talked about they're working on cost optimization and similar programs to make sure they bring their cost down. So that's the top thing there. So not surprising again, you can see the PBT. The PBT, how many times there? Almost 8 times in the PBT. The difference. In the difference. And also in gross profit. In the gross profit also. Wow. So this sector, as the economy gets better, businesses get better. And hopefully, as we go through the soft Q2, maybe things will pick up for them in the Q3 and Q4. And we'll have you back to take a look at that. All right, business analyst Chika Mbonu, thank you so much for taking us through those figures there from Dangote Cement.